eggs aren't going to hatch, pairs aren't going to pair up, just things are going to go wrong. Starting this channel is one thing I've learned. There's so many people with brains full of knowledge. If I had to do it again, looking over it, this is what I'd have done. Massive factories, filled full of Bengalese, filled full of budgies. I get asked all the time, like, how do you even start breeding birds? Like, where do you get a good pair of birds from? Where do you buy the cages from? What type of food do you feed them? How do you know if they're ready for breeding? How do you know if it's a cock? How do you know if it's a hen? Believe me, there's right ways to get into the breeding, and there's definitely wrong ways. People see the videos online, the eggs, the chicks, how easy it looks. But what a lot of people don't see behind all these videos is the countless hours of learning these guys who are making these videos have had, and how much advice has been given. So it's not as simple as just chucking two birds together and expecting good results. There's a lot more that go into it, and that's where you need to learn before you begin. Part 1, start with the birds and not the breeding. The first mistake I see all the time is people just rush in to buy a pair to just start breeding straight away, like the chicks are the end result. They're not the end result, the fruits of the labour of what these birds are going to produce, but they're going to produce better birds in healthier conditions and happier conditions if you just study the bird and the breed itself before you begin. Now I've got to hold my hands up. When I first began, I couldn't help it. My ADHD took over and I was buying birds left, right and centre and putting them together. I didn't have any bad results, but I got results. But at the end of the day, I could have done it a lot better looking back if I had to begin. And that's why I put this video together. So if I had to start off breeding birds again, how I would do it differently this time round. And the first thing I'd do is not rush into buying a breeding pair. So I would buy birds, but I wouldn't put the breeding boxes in. I would actually put them in and I would study them and let them take time to settle in. Just like I'm doing with my aviary right now. All the birds are in, but there's no breeding boxes. That's giving them time to get to know each other and chill. And it's also going to let me learn and understand the bird as well. So I know if there's any problems in there, any rogue hens, we can get them out. So I can understand the colony before I let the battles commence, so to speak, and putting the nest box in, which we'll get into later on down the line. So also in part 1 of starting with birds and not breeding the birds, understand how to upkeep the birds, cleaning them, understand all the minerals, the foods they need, the supplements they're going to need to make sure they're healthy. Understand that bird inside out. When you understand how that bird can live healthily, run happily, and everything's just singing happy, then we can move on to the next step, which is breeding the bird. So once you understand that breed of bird inside out, understand what it needs to maintain and live happily and healthily and stress-free, then we can move on to the next part, which is providing the correct setup. So there's 2 ways to breed birds. At the moment, we're just going to be talking about your basics, your budgies, canaries and finches. So we've got breeding boxes where you can put a cock and a hen together and have a control breed. That is a very, very popular way of doing it. But me personally, I prefer the second route, which is the aviary route. But the controlled route has a lot of benefits. Number 1, there's no fights because the hen doesn't need to worry about the nest box, defending it and whatnot. There's no problems about the chicks getting attacked by other birds. It's a lot safer to run birds in the breeding boxes, but you then do have the downside. A lot more cleaning, a lot longer to feed, a lot more maintenance. There's a lot more involved in that side. What I like to do is do the second way, which is colony breeding. On the downside of colony breeding, I'll make a video dedicated to the ups and downs of colony breeding because there is a lot. When it comes to colony breeding, the number 1 that everyone says, and I'm sure you'll be dropping in my comments, is fighting. It does happen, there is a lot of fighting, but that's why I say understand your birds first. Don't just understand your birds, understand your colony, understand your flock. And then you can see the rogue hens, where you do put the nest boxes in, you want to be watching and making sure for certain that everyone is happy. You want to be spending a lot more time in your aviary or around your aviary and watching it. If you haven't got time to do that, I do recommend putting cameras up. Now I've got cameras all over this place, also inside of the aviary. So if there is any fights, or if there is a death, I can look back and try and find out what took place in there. Again, it's my job to understand what's going on in there because of my responsibility. The last thing you want is anything running rogue in there, battering everything, killing all the young. And that is what happens with a colony. But what also you get in the benefits of the colony breeding is it's so natural that you can see how happy the birds are when they are happy. You never see birds as happy as that. If you take birds from from being inside cages and put them inside the aviary, they actually come over to thank you. It's weird. You would have seen that on some of the videos. I've got some birds come up to me. I can see they're grateful for what we've given them. So I'm definitely team aviary. I don't know about you guys. Let me know down in the comments. I do it both ways. I ain't against breeding inside cages because it's what's gone on for generations, and well, I'm sure that will never ever end because it is a healthy way. The birds are happy, they are healthy, so it is a win-win. Depends on what you want and the style you want. Right, moving on to number 3. Part 3, the learning curve. So here's one thing a lot of people don't tell you. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes in your first term of breeding. Eggs aren't gonna hatch, pairs aren't gonna pair up, just things are gonna go wrong. There's gonna be fights, there's gonna be escapes. Everything that can go wrong, it will happen in your first 12 months. But one thing it is, you are blessed that you have got the internet and YouTube, and you've got people like myself. There's tons of creators like me, all talking about the budgies and every breed you can imagine under the sun. Type it into YouTube and it will pop up, and someone will give you advice on it. So we are blessed for that to make it easier than ever. But mistakes, they're part of it. The trick is to learn every single time, learn round after round after round. And when you learn, pass that on to the new people. Don't keep that knowledge to yourself. Starting this channel is one thing I've learned. There's so many people with brains full of knowledge, and they're just keeping it to themselves, and they're going to take it to the grave. It doesn't make sense. If you learn, share it. What's the point of keeping it to yourself? All you're doing is helping birds, helping people keep happier and healthy birds. Stop being tight and share. Part 4, money and motivation. Now, if you're getting into bird breeding thinking you're going to make loads of money, don't. Get out of it, because you're not. There's a good saying in the bird trade saying if you can make just enough to cover your seeds, you've had a good year. And I'll tell you what, that is more or less right. Unless you are in a set up area where you've got massive factories filled full of Bengalese, filled full of budgies, you're not going to be making a good enough living. Now, you can make a wage, don't get me wrong. There is ways to make wages in this game, and I will dig into that in a later date. But one thing I don't want to do is glamorize money in the bird trade, because it's just not what I'm in it for. I don't actually breed birds to make money. I do it for the love and the hobby. That's what I'm trying to share with you guys. Now, I do know guys making a good living off it, but these guys are people who's been trading and looking after birds since they were little tiny kids. So they've been in it for 15, 16 years long. I do know a couple of people that are the younger generation that's coming, but again, when I look at their setups and they are making good money, it's been passed down from the granddad, it's been passed down from their uncles. So these guys are in a different ballgame. If you're going to get into the bird hobby, if you want my advice, don't do it for the money, do it for the love. Part 5, work on my hobby lead. Okay, so you've done year 1, you've made all your mistakes, you understand your colony, you know what breed you like, you've bought, sold and lost some birds. Gone through that. You're still into the game, right? Now you've been going to the auctions, you've been going to the sales, and if you haven't, start going to these places. You don't have to buy, you don't have to sell, just turn up, go in, start talking to people. Join some Facebook groups. There's different shows you can go to. You've got Stafford, you've got Newark, you can go to different shows all around the country. You can join up to societies, so you've got budgie, finches, all the different types of breeds of birds you can imagine. There will be a society for them. So you can sign up to these guys. They're really cool. They take you on trips, a lot of them, all over the world. So it's worth looking into that. A lot of the times, people just do it for the self, for the love. It's what it's all about. You get a kick. I can spend hours and hours and hours sat in my area just watching, checking the birds out, planning which ones I want to take out, which ones I want to put in. It's great fun. That's my little escape nowadays, and I love it. So it's not an overnight thing, it's definitely a patience thing, but it's same as any hobby. You've got to practice to get good at it, and that's exactly the same thing as keeping birds, aviculture. So guys, I hope this has helped you. I will do a follow-up video based on the comments you guys leave on this. What do you want me to dig deeper onto? Do you want me to go deeper onto the money side of things, the breeding side of things? You let me know in the comments. I'll do some deep dives. Today I just wanted to touch the base of, if I had to do it again, looking over it, this is what I'd have done. I took my time, wouldn't have rushed into it, understand the bird thoroughly, not looked at it as a money-making purpose, which I never did from day one. But don't get me wrong, there were moments where I thought, oh, if I get 50 budgies and they all start breeding, and your brain does start running. But you do have to start thinking how you're going to sell the budgies. You're going to need licensing, you're going to need delivery, you're going to need a lot of food, and you're going to need to make sure there's no diseases, wipe the whole flock out. So there's a lot to take on board on that. I will be speaking to someone shortly who runs a business breeding birds, Bengalese finches in particular, and zebra finches, and he has thousands and thousands of breeding pairs. I'm trying to get access into seeing what his setups are like, but these bird people, they do like to keep cards close to the chest, but we're getting there. Apart from that, guys, I hope this video helped you. It was me rambling on for a little bit. I quite enjoyed it, to be fair. If you like this type of content, give me a thumbs up so more bird geeks like you can find it. Check this video coming next, and I'll catch you on the next one.